had many people spell it wrong numerous times. I got the pleasure when I heard he was coming to be the platform assistant. To me, it was divine order. Why, you ask? Well, I've known Charley Thweatt since the 80s. Yes, that makes me either very old or very, very young when I first heard his music. Let's say maybe I was just very, very young. I was able to listen to some of his music last night, and I can't tell you the kind of memories it brought back to me. Back when I was in my 20s, Mark and I were part of a young adults group. And that is how we first got introduced to Charley Thweatt and his music. And the music that he sang brought so much joy and hope and peace to my life, and I believe was part of those stepping stones that have brought me to who I am today. Some of his songs, like Angels on My Shoulder, are one of the ones that always stays with you. And then there's another one, and the name is forgetting me, but it is used as a Sufi dance song in the YOU. You remember it, Anita? You're an angel, you're a being of light. You're an angel, and I know that I'm right. There's quite a few other songs that I can talk about, but I understand he has a lot of CDs back there. Pick any one of them. Someone said, which one's the best? I don't know. I would have to say all of them. But the last thing I want to say before I tell you a little bit more about Charley is last year during our pandemic, you know, sitting at home with nothing to do except cook and eat and surfing the web, I was on Facebook, and lo and behold, I hear Charley Thweatt singing. I'm like, Charley Thweatt singing? Okay, so I started listening. And he's like, yeah, I'm just doing this because I know we need to hear it. And then he said, here's my next time. And I'm like, okay, I put it in my calendar, and I listened to it the next time. I just had it playing. And it was just so nice to go back to those memories of growing up in my 20s and knowing how those words still resonate today in my life. And I know he's gonna play a song in time that when I was listening to it again last night, I realized in time, it will all work out. So I want us to go ahead and welcome Charley Thweatt as our speaker today, and I will bring him back up a little bit later, but just so that you have a little knowledge of who this man is and how he's blessed mine and Mark's life, and quite a few of my friends in young adults. So let's please take this moment now to silence our phones, and if our chaplains could come up now.
Is that what I'm doing, the call to worship song?
Oh.
That was the preamble.
Yeah. Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
Yeah, you had your 20 seconds of fame, sorry.
Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you and to have Charley. My name is Mary Ellen.
I'm Cindy Gann.
And we are your prayer chaplains for the day. And if anybody has anything that they want prayer for, even if it's something to celebrate, we are here for you. And it really and truly is an honor for us to be able to have this soulful connection in prayer with you. So we'll be here after the service. And now we can say our invocation, and if you need a copy of it, it should be in the chair in front of you. I am now in the presence of a pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I acknowledge your presence and your power, O blessed Spirit. In your divine wisdom, now erase my human limitations, and from your pure substance of love, bring into manifestation my world
into your perfect law.
Thank you, ladies. And our daily word for today is prosperity. Prosperity fills my life. Prosperity fills my life. Current flowing through my home's wiring produces light, but I first must flip that switch on. Divine substance, the building block of creation, is the source from which my prosperity grows. But first, I must claim it in consciousness to live in that prosperous life. The divine idea of prosperity is unlimited, more than sufficient to meet every need. I know true prosperity when I live from this truth. Given freely and generously keeps prosperity at the forefront of my consciousness. I know the more that I give, the more of myself I place into circulation, the more I will experience. As I give of myself, I increase the flow of prosperity in my life and in the world. And he said to them, pay attention to what you hear. The measure you give will be the measure you get, and still more will be given to you. Mark 4:24. And now, let's prepare for meditation.
When Jean and I were chatting before the service, she mentioned the song "You're an Angel," and I said, "Yeah, it's coming up on its 40th birthday." And I realized today is its 39th birthday. I wrote it on November 14th. So I've never used this to lead into meditation, but I think today is a good day to do that. So it's very simple words. If you want to sing silently inside your mask, you may. But essentially, we're looking at who we are as spiritual beings. So I invite you to close your eyes. We'll go into use this song to go into silence. We'll let it fade at the end. And after that, I'll lead you through a little guided meditation. Okay? Let's close our eyes. Taking a deep breath together. I want to invite you actually to place your hands right on your heart center. Just to use this as a way to connect into who you are on a deeper level.
And I know that I'm right. You're an angel, bringing love to everyone, and it's yours to give, and in the giving comes the fun. I'll sing for you. I'm an angel, I'm a being of light. I'm an angel, and I know that I'm right. I'm an angel, bringing love to everyone, and it's mine to give, and in the giving comes the fun. We are angels. We are beings of light, we are angels, and we know that we're right. We are angels, bringing love to everyone, and it's ours to give, and in the giving comes the fun.
You're an angel. You're a being of light. What we're saying here really is, I am spirit. I am light. I am that essence beyond the earthly form. At my core, I am spirit. And as spirit, I have a deep well of peace at my center. A deep well of stillness. As I walk through this world, these daily experiences, I remember that. I bring that stillness to every situation. I bring that peace. Because I'm spirit. I am that being of light, walking this world. As I look out into the world through these eyes, it doesn't matter so much what I'm looking at as where I'm looking from. It doesn't matter so much what I'm looking at as where I'm looking from. And I look from spirit. Look from peace. I bring that to every situation. I'm an angel. I'm a being of light. I'm spirit. True for all time. Just mine to remember. It's just my job to come back home to who I am. Maybe I forget, then I come back. I am spirit. I am a being of light. And so it is, and so we are. Amen.
me stories. Tell me stories of the many glories, of the many glories. Life is streaming, all the while you're dreaming of some castles in the air. Does your insisting mean that you are missing all the love that's waiting there? You can call me if you fall for the lies that people throw at you. 'Cause you're much greater than any hater when you can come right home to what is true. So why don't you? Will you find them in so many faces wherever you'll be? Will you find them in all of your seeking? Just what do you see? Will you find them in so many places wherever you go? Will you find them with all of your searching? Just what do you know? Tell me stories. Tell me stories of the many glories, of the many glories. Tell me stories of the many glories that you've got yourself into. I'm going to start by asking, are you jealous of me? Because I'm the only one not wearing a mask. It's a trip. First of all, I want to say I'm just so grateful to be able to be here and just to have a live, experience, because it's kind of rare for me lately. So I want to remember to treasure it every time it happens. I was at a church actually last weekend or 2 weeks ago. I said, I'm actually grateful to be anywhere. I don't take it personally, but it's not just about you. It's just like, I'm just grateful to be in connection. I mean, it is sweet, isn't it? My talk today is called Flow, Flow, Flow Your Boat. And the subtitle, Trust is Not a Dream. Flow, flow, flow your boat. Trust is not a dream. And these days are kind of requiring a lot of trust, aren't they? Like, just keep breathing. Just know there's a bigger plan afoot, divine order. It's different than we expected, but we'll just stay with that. Now, I'll tell you, I like opening with a joke sometimes, so I do have a joke for you. Are you ready? Could use a little laughter. So this is about two guys on a Sunday afternoon. It's a beautiful day, and one of the men has a little small airplane. So they're near the coast, and they decide they're going to go fly out over the ocean for a little while. And they've been out for about an hour when suddenly they have engine trouble. And they have to do an emergency landing. They find a little island to land on, and on the way down, they discover that their radio is broken. They can't even call for help. So finally they get down safely. They're standing on the beach on this little deserted island. And one guy is really nervous about the whole experience, and the other is very calm. So the nervous guy says, what are we going to do? The radio's broken. How are we going to call for help? And the other fellow says, well, just relax. Just trust. I'm sure it's going to be fine. What do you mean? We have no food. We have no water. How are we going to survive? Well, just relax. Just trust. I'm sure it's going to all work out. What are you talking about? Trust. Why do you think we should trust? Well, he says, something you may not know about me is that my investments are doing really well. In fact, I'm bringing in about $10,000 a week. Who cares? We need a radio. We need food. What are you talking about? He says, well, I don't think you're getting my point. See, I'm bringing in about $10,000 a week, and I tithe 10% of that to my Unity Church. And I know my minister will find me. Trust. I used to travel with an author named Alan Cohen. Does that name ring a bell to anybody? His probably best known book is The Dragon Doesn't Live Here Anymore. He has other wonderful books, and just a good buddy. And right now I forget why I brought that up. Why did I do that? Oh yeah, what I love about him and about many speakers, I love when a speaker tells stories instead of just trying to cram information into you, didactically. So I'm going to tell a few stories today, but the truth will be buried in them. And my first story I want to share with you actually has to do with an airplane and a flight I was on. So it begins with, and I've been lucky enough, blessed to get to be flown to Italy, I think 50 plus times. I can't remember now. I got it written down somewhere, but I've gotten to travel to Italy to sing for conferences and retreats many, many times over the years. And even to the point where I, up until recently, was leading tours of Italy, spiritual tours, and that's a lot of fun. But this particular time, I was singing for a 4-day intensive on a little private island off the coast of Sicily. And usually at the end of these events, I've done it many times in a row, and when I'm settling up with the organizer, I also submit my miscellaneous expenses. This time it was $90, so I submitted it to be reimbursed, and she said, well, we're not reimbursing that anymore. And, my stomach kind of felt funny when she said that, and but I heard a voice in my head and it just said, let it go. There's a bigger plan afoot. You're always covered, just let it go. So there's like a trust message right there, right? And, part of me was thinking, well, gee, if you found $90 on the sidewalk, you'd be pretty happy about that. But the voice said, let it go, and I did. I didn't say anything. I didn't bite the hand that feeds me. And I said, thank you very much, and went on my merry way. I had to take a short flight to Rome, and then getting ready for my long 9-hour flight back to the U.S. And I've flown with American Airlines many, many times, and as a result, I get these little free upgrades to business class without paying for a business class seat. That's pretty nice for a 9-hour flight. So I get to the Rome airport, and at the time you had to get a boarding pass at the gate, so I'm standing in line. It's 45 minutes before departure. I'm in pretty good shape, like 6 people ahead of me, 5 people. 10 minutes goes by and the line isn't moving. I'm starting to get a little nervous, and 10 more minutes, well, it's moved up 1 person. I finally get to talk to the gate agent at the time of departure, and she says, I'm sorry, sir, but your business class seat is no longer available. Okay, again, my stomach goes, I know that it feels unfair again. Okay, and she says, however, if you must have a business class seat, there might be one on tomorrow's flight or the next day. Well, I'm not going to wait around for my little cushy seat. But then she said, however, we do have an aisle seat and coach for you if you want to take this flight. And if you'd be willing to do that, American Airlines will compensate you with flight vouchers for future flights in the amount of $3,000. And I looked down and shuffled my feet and said, well, I guess that would be okay. I got on the flight, it's fine, big deal. I'm in coach, I'm in aisle seat, that's great. About an hour into the flight, it dawned on me what had happened. Earlier that day, I let go of $90 over here. The voice said, there's a bigger plan afoot, you're always covered. And a couple hours later, I'm catching $3,000 coming in over here. And I use that for the work I do, for my mission here on earth. And the voice said, you're always covered. There's a bigger plan afoot, let it go. We talk about evidence within a few hours of that being true. But I also wonder, what if I'd kind of squeezed over here? Like you squeeze the garden hose and water doesn't go up, doesn't flow through? What if I'd squeezed? I wonder if this would have happened. I think we need to flow our boats, not row our boats, right? can we go the way the stream is going and see what's the reason? Maybe we don't see it at the time. I mentioned Alan Cohen. I remember once from the stage, he invited the audience to take their fingers and roll them up into a little, so you're just looking through a little pinprick like this. Would you do this with me for a second? Just look through the pinprick, kind of scan the room through this little hole. And what Alan said is, of all the things happening in life, this is about how much you can see. You know, we're just barely seeing. And then he said, open up your fingers, and this is what God sees. And the little joke we're playing on ourselves is that we're trying to control everything based on this much information. Isn't that ridiculous? There's a bigger plan afoot. We can't see it all. And he also talked about how many of us seem to have this role of being the general managers of the universe. Do we have any of those in the room? Yeah, maybe it's time to resign that role and flow our boats. Trust is not a dream. There's a great quote in A Course in Miracles. It's a simple one-liner. I live by this. Trust would settle every problem now. Let that sink in. Trust would settle every problem now. And I've quoted that time and time again, and after a few years of saying it, something dawned on me. Because as soon as you trust, it's not a problem. As soon as you let go into the universe is going to cover this, is it still a problem? Trust would settle every problem now. It's just our job is, can we step into trust? Can we breathe enough? Can we let go enough to know there's a bigger plan afoot? Maybe we don't see it. We're looking, this is what we see. How can we know? I started out at a big Unity church in Houston. And that's where I got up and sang a solo on a Sunday, and my knees were knocking, and I did it anyway. And just because I knew there's something there, I needed to get through this fear. And part of what got me on stage was there was a kind of this music production group that we put on productions every solstice and equinox. And it was really essentially a bunch of adults acting like they're putting on an elementary school play. It's kind of what it looked like. Doing movements like this, singing. It's kind of silly, but made a lot of great friends in the process. And one of them was this guy named Springboard. He was like, Madonna, Cher, Springboard, the little one name. And he was one of these kind of Renaissance men. He was into architecture, arts, brain research, music, plays, putting on plays. And I remember chatting with him once during one of the rehearsals. And he said something that's always stuck with me. He said, Charley, what I love to do, I love to put myself out on the leading edge of my ignorance. Isn't that a great line? I like putting myself out on the leading edge of my ignorance. Now, ignorance is not stupidity, it's just what we don't know yet. Out on the edges of where we've been, out on the frontier. And it dawns on me that takes courage, and that takes trust to kind of get out of our norm. So here comes trust again, the invitation to trust as we stretch ourselves. If we're always doing what we've always done, kind of stay safe in this little area, where's the growth in that? So as I say this, is there some area you've been meaning to stretch into? Get out on the edge of your ignorance. What comes to mind when I say that? Because we're always growing, right? I remember a minister said, either when you're ripe, you're rotting, and when you're green, you're growing. So we don't want to be ripe yet, do we? We're going to keep stretching, keep growing. So what is that for you? Maybe there's some project that's been in the back of your mind. Maybe it has to do with service. But when you do what your heart's calling, other people will be served. It's going to be part of their growth. Someone inspired you at some point, right? Remember early in your spiritual journey, things that really caught your attention that meant a lot? That's because someone else put themselves out to share that. How can you be that for the next wave of people who are just opening? Out on the leading edge of our ignorance. There's another quote from A Course in Miracles that applies to this, I think. It says, I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because he who sent me will direct me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because he who sent me will direct me. And the image I get when I hear that is, maybe someone calls for help. Can you come over? I need help. And you're thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do. What am I going to say? But I think the invitation to show up and trust that it will be given to you. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do. He who sent me will direct me. So it's about being open to that guidance, to that intuition, to that, what do I do next? You hear, be given a message. I want to do another quote. This is from Mark Twain. It's a little bit different angle on it. Have you heard this one? He said, I've proven that worrying works. I've proven that worrying works because pretty much everything I ever worried about never happened. I love the irony in that one. I'm going to share another quote with you. This is from a naturopath friend of mine, and this is kind of health-oriented, but this quote changed my life. She said, the body loves circulation. The body loves circulation. And this little one-liner got me walking every day. And just, it's obvious when you think about it, just to, kind of flush the juices through, just keep everything circulating and happy, because often we get very static in our lives, don't we? Maybe more in the pandemic. I kept walking because you can go outside in good weather. And since I heard that quote, I'm about 20 to 30 pounds lighter than I used to be when she said that. It's a slow process of just getting a little bit healthier, The body loves circulation. Now, I've seen this also applies on an emotional. Confession is, I've been giving you pretty much the same talk every Sunday. So, I have to think of a different way to say it. But every single Sunday, I'm really saying three things. And here's what I'm saying. Everything is God. This includes you. Act accordingly. Isn't that good? Everything is God. This includes you. Act accordingly. So let's say that as an I statement. We'll say everything is God. This includes me, and I act accordingly. You want to do that with me?
Yes.
Okay. Everything is God. This includes me, and I act accordingly. One more time. Everything is God. This includes me, and I act accordingly. And what's buried in those statements, if everything is God, and this includes me, then part of acting accordingly is rising out of this kind of lower way of thinking into this kind of union with God consciousness. And when we rise to that, trust is already built in. Trust is innate. It's almost beyond the need for trust. Because then we're connected to that bigger picture, knowing how there's a bigger plan afoot, living from that, and trust is built in. Everything is God. This includes me. And I act accordingly. And I'm just walking in trust or even beyond trust, beyond the need for trust. Because trust implies that you're a little worried, doesn't it? If you weren't worried, you wouldn't even need it. We flow our boats, knowing trust is not a dream. So it is, and so we are. Now I'm going to close with a song. So I wrote this sitting on a cliff in Hawaii. Oh, you had mentioned my song In Time. I was going to quote it. Oh yeah, I'm going to quote that because it fits in with the talk. I've never done this, an addendum to the talk. So it's been a little bit of a loose service anyway. So, this came to me after being at one of these conferences at Unity Village, and
And the line in it is, in time and time we see the working out, and we find that there's peace there. In time and time we see the working out, and we find that there's peace there. And the principle in this song is, I want you to think of some mess you were in 5 years ago, okay? Just somewhere about a few years, whatever. Something like, how is this ever going to work out? Do you have a picture of what that might have been? But as time went on, you see, oh, that led to this, which led to that. You kind of see the bigger picture, right? And you see how it resolves itself. Oh, now I know why that had to happen. Now I know why I got divorced, so this other thing would be better. Now I know why I had to lose that job, whatever. And then you see, oh, yeah, there was a bigger plan afoot. Okay? So you take that principle and you apply it to whatever mess you're in this week. And know that the same principle is at work. In time and time, we see the working out. And we find that there's peace there. Okay, so again, just using our experience to apply it to what's current. Okay, this song is called Wave After Wave. And I kind of want you to sing with me. Can you? Okay, well, pretend you're singing with me, okay? It's about how life polishes us wave after wave. Same story. Wave after wave after wave after wave after wave. It's breaking down the wall. Join me. Wave after wave after wave after wave after wave. It's breaking down the wall. Have you ever seen American Idol or The Voice, that TV show? Tell you what, let's get you doing, since you can't really sing, would you on the chorus you wave like that, okay? Everybody do it again. Wave after wave after wave. Now we're doing it. It's breaking down the wall. Oh, wave after wave after wave after wave. Breaking down the wall. You can relax a minute. I've lost the useless patterns that seem so comfortable, and things that used to work on now unbearable. Can't wait long. Wave after wave after wave after wave after wave. Breaking down the wall. Oh, wave after wave after wave after wave after wave. Breaking down the wall. Your love is like a garden that you keep offering. You wrap me in that fragrance, and I keep opening. Wave after wave after wave after wave after. I'm letting down the wall. Oh, wave after wave after wave after wave after wave. I'm letting down the wall. I've lost the useless patterns that seem so comfortable, and things that used to work on now unbearable. Wave after wave after wave after wave after wave. I'm letting down the wall. Oh, wave after wave after wave after wave after wave. I'm letting down the wall. I'm letting down the wall. I'm letting down